everyone, my name is Margaret Summerall. I am a student at Florida Southwestern State College. I am majoring in elementary education, and I decided that I'm going to read some books for your kids. So the first thing I wanted to do was create a small video to help out the parents and letting you know suggestions that can be done to help you read to your kids at home. So I'm going to be creating a small video series of about 5 books from Scholastic. So I will tell you their names right now. The first book is called Thunder on the Plains, and it's by Ken Robbins. So it's Scholastic Publishing. The next one is called Achoo, the most interesting book you'll ever read about germs, and it's written by Trudy Romanek. The next one is A Handful of Dirt by Raymond Bael. Again, it's Scholastic Publishing. Oh, so sorry, there's a glare. Let me fix that. There we go. The fourth one is If the World Were a Village. It's the 2nd edition, and it's a book about the world's people. It's written by David J. Smith. And the last book is called Survival at 120 Above. Let's see, it's Scholastic Publishing. I don't know who the author is. Let me find out for you. The author is Debbie S. Miller. So it says it right there if the camera will focus. There we go. So this packet of 5 books, if you can find it on the Scholastic website, and it's called My Book Summer. So it's the 3rd through 5th grade summer reading. So it also comes with a journal, and it comes with a few other papers, which I'm going to be asking questions from these papers. So if you do end up buying it, I think it was like $24 around there. If you do end up buying it, it'd be great for your children to read along to, and then they can answer the questions as I go over them with the packets. So I just wanted to give you some suggestions on how to read to your child, or how to have your child read, and like questions to ask. So this is just video 1. I will be reading these 5 books, so there will probably be about 6 videos in this series, this being number 1. I may include a 7th one just as a overview of all the books. I'm not for sure yet. We will see. So basically, before you read to your child, or before your child reads, I'm just going to assume that you're going to read to your child, so I'm going to say it like that, but you can also do it as if they're reading on their own. So before reading, you obviously know that the adventure of reading a book starts with the front cover. That's what interests the child the most at the beginning when they're still young. Of course, you eventually have to teach them, don't judge a book by a cover, but for now, that's what's very interesting to them. So you're going to investigate the front cover. You're going to talk about what they see, and you're going to talk about what the title is and what they think the book's about. They're going to make a prediction about what the book's about. And you're also going to discuss what you know about the topic and what they know about the topic. Sound good? Okay. So while you are reading, you are going to make sure your voice is going up and down. You're going to use lots of inflection in your voice. It's going to be difficult at times because your child may not understand some of the words, but you need to understand that they're still learning vocabulary. So it's very important that you answer questions, and you encourage them that reading is fun and that they should help you read at times. Like maybe you can ask them if they know a sight word. You can be like, stop at a specific point and be like, do you know this word? And then they can read it, and then you can start that sentence over. So things like that. You're also going to read stories and sections of stories multiple times. Rereading is the best. It really helps children to learn new words because they're able to read the book by themselves, even though it's mostly just memorization, but it does encourage them to understand the book and to know the book, and it gives them a sense of, I can do this, and then they'll want to start doing it. They'll want to start reading. For longer books, you're also going to pause at certain sections. Even in chapter books, if you're reading a chapter a night to your child, you're going to stop at the end of the chapter and you're going to ask them, you're going to review, be like, what happened? What was in that chapter? You're going to ask questions about it. You can also have them predict what's going to happen next. And even if it's not a chapter book, if it's just a picture book, you can still stop at a certain point and be like, so what do you think is going to happen on the next page? You're going to ask a lot of questions. You're also going to discuss how the author wrote the book. A lot of people, parents and teachers, don't know that they should do this. But you're going to ask, like, did the author use a particular style to tell the story? Did he or she use any figurative language? Why did the author make these decisions? So, like, why did the author pick to do that? Just things like that. And you're going to look beyond the text. So, of course, you're going to look at the pictures and the illustrations and the images that provide deeper meaning to the story. This is especially good for the younger students who only see the pictures, like the words just look like blobs to them. But even for the older ones, it's good because they could be creating a whole different picture in their mind. You could read something about the boy put on a yellow jacket, and they could be thinking of like a yellow sweater, when really it's a yellow winter coat. So, and again, that's how the author perceived it, or like wrote it, versus how your child perceived it. So it's good to look at the pictures too, no matter what their age is. And now we're going to go to after reading. So after reading the book, you are going to discuss the personal connections. You're going to relate the story to the child. Have you ever had an experience like the main character, or have you ever visited the place that the main character went to, or even like a place like that? Imagine what it would be like to be the character in the story. What if that were you? This is especially good for when you're reading books about children who are struggling in school, or children who struggle with behavior, or when you pick a book out specifically that you know is going to help your child. You can read it to them completely without their knowledge of knowing that the purpose behind it is so that you can relate it to them, and then at the very end be like, think of the story. What would you do? Ask the question in kind of a way that they don't realize it's about them until the very end. What if that were you? What would you do differently? Would you do the same thing? And you're just relating that to your child. You can also invite your child to draw pictures about the story. This helps to reinforce the reading comprehension and encourage critical thinking about the book. You can also discuss the characters, and what if there was a different character? Or what if the character ended up not doing that or going to that place? You can also ask, what if the story was told by a different person? How would that change the story? If Johnny and Maya were picking apples together and they didn't want Sophia to play, what if the story was told from Sophia's point of view? Like if it were told from Johnny and Maya's point of view, and they were just like being mean, and it was a book about bullying, well, what if it was told from Sophia's point of view? What would happen then? Just questions like that to get your child to realize that there are lots of people in the world, and each person has their own point of view, and it's good to know that. That's a very important lesson for kids to learn, and a reading is a great way to understand that. You're also going to want to find a common thread that ties the story together. So for fiction stories, this would be like a theme. What is the theme of the story? So sometimes it's even in the title. Like I said, if the book, what I just said, mentioned Johnny, Maya, and Sophia, if that book was called Bullying or something like that, then you would know that theme is about bullying and love and showing friendship and kindness and things of that nature, depending on what the story was specifically about. I just gave an example. In nonfiction stories, it's usually for a main idea. So like, what evidence would support that? Or even what evidence supports the theme in fiction stories? So you're always looking for text. You're always going back to the story. You're rereading the story to find the answers. This is very important to understand reading comprehension, which is a very, very important skill in life, because you read everything in the world and you have to understand what you just read. So it's very important to make sure your child understands how to comprehend what they read. A great way would be to look for pictures, reread the story, just things like that. So But I definitely, of course, always encourage everyone to read to their child at night. Even if your child is in 5th grade or middle school, make sure you're reading to them every once in a while to let them know that you're invested in their reading life. Make sure they are reading every day for at least 20 to 30 minutes roughly, if not more. And just make sure they're reading for fun. And as always, never, ever, ever make reading a punishment, because a child starts to hate reading, which is so sad. So please never, ever make reading a punishment, and I hope this encourages you all. And I will get started on the book series right now. Well, it's not a book series, but the video series about the books. So thank you so much, and be sure to be watching.